Hello, my good friends. How are you today? May God bless you all. I will not introduce anything, you guys. Watch the video and feel it. Then let's evaluate together. The sun burned like a damn furnace over Tumbleweed Springs, Montana, casting long shadows across the polished marble floor of the Silver Spur Medical Center. It was 9 a.m., and the hospital's lobby buzzed with the usual chaos. Patients clutching clipboards, nurses hustling with trays of medical supplies, and the faint twang of a Luke Bryan song drifting from a beat-up radio behind the reception desk. The air smelled of antiseptic mixed with the bitter tang of coffee from a machine that hadn't been cleaned since the rodeo last summer. A framed painting of a cowboy roping a steer hung on the wall, a nod to the town's Wild West roots, and a neon sign flickered above the entrance. Silver Spur, where care meets class. Class my ass, thought Zuri Jackson as she stood in the center of the lobby, her dark eyes locked on the man who was about to tear her world apart. Zuri, 38, was a force of nature, tall with skin like polished ebony, and hair woven into tight braids that swung as she moved. Her white nurse's blouse hugged her frame, the name tag reading Zuri Jackson, RN, pinned proudly above her heart. She'd been head nurse at Silver Spur for a decade, saving lives, while dodging the whispers and side eyes from folks who didn't think a black woman belonged in charge. But today those whispers had turned into a full-on roar, and the man leading the charge was Caleb Buck Thornton, the hospital director. Caleb stood behind the reception desk, his paunch straining against a tailored gray vest, a black cowboy hat perched on his head like he was auditioning for a Western flick. At 50, he carried himself like the king of Tumbleweed, Springs, his blue eyes glinting with a mix of arrogance and cruelty. He slammed a meaty hand on the desk, making the coffee cups rattle, and bellowed, "Zuri Jackson, you've broken every damn rule in this hospital. You're done. Take off that blouse. Leave your badge and get the hell out of my sight." The lobby froze. Patients in plastic chairs gawked their paperwork, forgotten. Nurses stopped mid-stride, syringes in hand. Even the old guy in a flannel shirt clutching a thermos with a horse emblem leaned forward, muttering, "Well, shit. This is better than the rodeo." Zuri didn't flinch. She crossed her arms, her bangles clinking softly, and stared Caleb down. "Buck, I saved a man's life last night. Something this sorry-ass hospital seems to have forgotten how to do." Her voice was steady, but inside her heart pounded like a stampede. She'd known this was coming. Last night she'd broken protocol big time, treating a half-dead drifter with no ID, no insurance, and no damn credit card. But what was she supposed to do? Let him bleed out on the floor while the receptionist scrolled TikTok? Screw that. She'd done what was right, and now she was paying the price. Caleb's face turned redder than a barn in a sunset. "You don't get to decide what's right. Zuri, you used hospital resources, my resources, on some filthy bum who couldn't pay a dime. You think you're a hero? You're a liability." He jabbed a finger at her, his cowboy hat tilting slightly. "Take off that blouse or I'll have security drag you out like the trash you are." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Malik, Rusty Brooks, the hospital's black security guard and Zuri's best friend, leaned against the wall. His carob shirt tucked into jeans with a leather belt, he muttered under his breath. "Buck thinks he's Clint Eastwood, but that beer gut's only good for riding a kiddie pony at the fair." A young nurse nearby choked back a laugh, but Zuri didn't smile. She unbuttoned her blouse, slowly revealing a fitted red flannel shirt tucked into jeans, her cowboy boots gleaming with intricate Navajo embroidery. She folded the blouse, placed her badge on top, and slid it across the desk. "You're making a mistake, Buck," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "One day you'll choke on that ego." Caleb snorted a nasty sound that echoed in the quiet lobby. "The only mistake was hiring you, sweetheart. Now get out before I call the cops." He turned to the crowd, raising his voice like a preacher at a revival. "Let this be a lesson, y'all. Rules are rules, and nobody, not even Miss High and Mighty here, gets to break 'em." Zuri turned her boots, clicking on the marble floor, and headed for the glass doors. Every eye followed her, some with pity, others with scorn. Lila Sunny Hayes, the blonde receptionist, smirked from behind her phone, her glittery nails tapping as she live-streamed the whole thing. "OMG, y'all, this is wild," she chirped, her tiny pink cowboy hat bobbing. Nurse Zuri just got canned for breaking rules. Like, who does she think she is? Zuri ignored her, but the words stung. 10 years of busting her ass, of saving lives, reduced to a TikTok clip. As she reached the doors, a memory hit her like a freight train the night before when everything went to hell. It was 11 p.m. and the hospital was quiet, save for the hum of fluorescent lights and Lila's endless scrolling. Zuri was finishing her rounds, her boots echoing in the empty halls, when the automatic doors hissed open. A man staggered in his clothes, torn and caked with mud blood, dripping from a gash on his forehead. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a scruffy beard and dark hair matted to his face. His eyes, a piercing hazel, locked on Zuri as he gasped, "Help, please," before collapsing like a sack of grain. Lila didn't even look up. "No insurance, no treatment," she said, popping her gum. "Rules are rules, hon. Take it up with the cows outside." Zuri's blood boiled. She dropped her clipboard and ran to the man kneeling beside him. His pulse was weak, his breathing shallow. Head trauma, maybe. Internal bleeding, every second counted. "Elena," she shouted, calling for Dr. Elena Doc Vargas, the only Latino doctor on staff. "Room 3 now, Malik, help me move him." Malik hustled over his belt buckle, glinting under the lights. "Damn, Zuri. This guy looks like he got run over by a herd of bison." Together they lifted the man onto a gurney, Zuri's hands steady as she checked his vitals. She noticed a silver ring on his finger carved with an eagle odd for a drifter, but she pushed the thought aside. "Lila, call it in," she barked. Lila rolled her eyes, still filming. "But like the rules." "Screw the damn rules," Zuri snapped. "This man's dying. Move your ass." Lila flinched, and for once she obeyed. Elena rushed in her blouse, untucked a turquoise scarf tied around her neck. "Possible concussion. Maybe a fractured skull," she said, her hands moving fast. "Good call, Zuri. Let's save him." They worked like a well-oiled machine, stabilizing the man as the clock ticked. Zuri's mind raced protocol. Be damned, she wasn't letting him die. By midnight, he was in recovery, his vitals steady. Zuri stayed by his side, wiping blood from his face with a cloth. His eyes fluttered open, and he grabbed her hand, his grip surprisingly strong. You're an angel," he rasped, his voice rough but warm. "Or maybe a cowboy saving my sorry ass," Zuri chuckled, her braids brushing her shoulders. "Just Zuri. And you owe me a hell of a story, mister." The air between them shifted, charged with something she couldn't name. He pulled her closer, his thumb brushing her wrist. "Nobody," he said, but his eyes said different. Before she could think, he leaned up and their lips met in a soft, fleeting kiss, electric under the dim hospital lights. Zuri pulled back, her heart racing. "Get some rest," she said, her voice husky. "We'll talk when you're not half dead." Back in the present. Zuri pushed through the glass doors, the Montana sun blinding her. The crowd's murmurs faded, replaced by the crunch of gravel under her boots. She'd lost her job, her reputation, everything she'd built, but she'd do it again in a heartbeat. She was halfway to her Jeep Wrangler when a deafening roar split the air. The ground shook and dust swirled like a damn tornado. Zuri spun around, her hand shielding her eyes as 2 black helicopters descended onto the hospital's front lawn, their blades slicing the morning calm. "What the hell?" she muttered, her pulse spiking. The crowd spilled out of the lobby. Caleb included his cowboy hat, nearly flying off. The helicopters landed, kicking up clouds of dirt, and the doors slid open. A man stepped out, tall and broad, in a tailored black suit that screamed money. His dark hair was slicked back, his beard trimmed, and a silver ring glinted on his finger, an eagle just like the one Zuri had seen last night. Her breath caught. It was him, the drifter. He strode forward, his hazel eyes locked on Caleb, who looked like he'd seen a ghost. The man stopped, his voice cutting through the chaos like a whip. Zuri Jackson just saved the life of Jasper Navarro, CEO of Navarro Biotech. And this piece of shit hospital will pay for humiliating her. He turned to Zuri, a half-smile tugging at his lips. Good to see you again, cowboy. The crowd erupted, patients gasped, nurses whispered, and Lila's phone nearly fell from her hands as she squealed, "Plot twist, y'all! This is going viral." Caleb stammered, his face pale as milk. You're lying, you're just some bum." Jasper's smile turned cold. "Wanna bet? Check your email." "Buck, my lawyers are already digging into this dump." He gestured to the helicopters, where a woman in a sharp blazer, Amara Cole, his attorney, stepped out, holding a tablet. Zuri's mind reeled. CEO Biotech. She'd kissed a billionaire last night, thinking he was a nobody, and now he was here throwing down for her. "Jasper," she said, stepping closer. "What the hell's going on?" He leaned in, his voice low, sending a shiver down her spine. "You saved me, Zuri. Now I'm saving you. We're just getting started." Malik jogged up, grinning like a kid at Christmas. "Holy shit. Zuri, you didn't just save a guy, you saved a damn tycoon. Why didn't you check his wallet first?" Zuri shot him a look, but her lips twitched. "Shut it, Rusty. I was busy keeping him alive." Caleb found his voice, though it shook. "This changes nothing. Zuri's fired, and I'll sue your ass for slander." Jasper's laugh was sharp like a blade. "Try it, Buck. You're about to learn what happens when you mess with the wrong woman." He nodded to Amara, who was already typing furiously on her tablet. Caleb's phone pinged, and his eyes widened as he read whatever was on the screen. Zuri didn't know what was coming, but she felt it, a storm bigger than Tumbleweed Springs, bigger than Caleb's ego. She climbed into her Jeep, the engine roaring to life, and dialed a number. "Tanya," she said to her assistant, her voice steady as steel. "It's Zuri. Check Meditech's accounts. I need 20 million ready by tonight." She hung up, her eyes narrowing. Nobody in that hospital knew she was a millionaire, the secret owner of a day tech empire. Caleb thought he'd won, but he'd just kicked a hornet's nest. She drove toward her ranch, the horizon glowing gold, when her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The Rusty Spur. 8 p.m. "We've got business." "Zuri Hawk." She smirked, tossing the phone onto the seat. "Jasper Navarro." "You better have a damn good explanation," she muttered, "'cause this cowboy's ready for a fight." The dust trailed behind her Jeep, and somewhere in the distance the helicopters roared back to life. Tumbleweed Springs was about to get one hell of a wake-up call. If Zuri's ballsy stand and Jasper's helicopter stunt got your blood pumping, y'all, you're in for a wild ride. Smash that subscribe button and drop justice for Zuri in the comments to join this fight against the bad guys. Who's ready to see this badass queen kick some serious ass? Let's roll. Zuri Jackson's Jeep Wrangler tore down the dusty road toward Tumbleweed Springs, the Montana sun sinking into a blaze of orange and pink. Her ranch loomed ahead, a sprawling spread of weathered wood and wildflowers, with a barn big enough for a dozen horses and a porch where she'd spent countless nights sipping coffee under the stars. It was her sanctuary, her secret bought with the millions she'd earned as the shadow owner of Meditech, a tech empire nobody in this town knew about. But tonight, as she pulled into the gravel drive, her mind wasn't on the ranch or her fortune. It was on Jasper Hawk. Navarro, the supposed drifter who'd turned out to be a damn billionaire, and the cryptic text he'd sent the Rusty Spur. 8 p.m. "We've got business." "What the hell kind of business?" Zuri muttered, cutting the engine. She stepped out, her Navajo-etched cowboy boots crunching on the ground, her red flannel shirt catching the evening breeze. The memory of Jasper's kiss last night, soft electric in that dim hospital room, still burned in her chest. She shook her head, trying to focus. Billionaire or not, he'd dropped a bomb at Silver Spur this morning, calling out Caleb Buck Thornton in front of God and everybody. And those helicopters. Pure theater. Zuri wasn't sure if she wanted to thank him or slug him for turning her firing into a circus. Inside the ranch house, she kicked off her boots and padded across the hardwood floor to the kitchen. The place was a mix of modern and rustic stainless steel appliances beside a stone fireplace, a flat-screen TV above a shelf of old rodeo trophies. A framed photo on the counter caught her eye. Her parents, Samuel and Grace, smiling at a county fair. Zuri, just a kid between them. Her throat tightened. They died when she was 10 victims of a car wreck in a hospital that wouldn't treat them without insurance. That's why she'd built Meditech. Why she'd hidden her wealth to work as a nurse, to fix the system from the inside. And now Caleb had ripped that dream away. Her phone buzzed, snapping her back. A voicemail from Malik. Rusty Brooks, her best friend, and the hospital's security guard. Yo, Zuri, you see? Lila's TikTok. That girl's trashing you like you stole her damn sparkle hat. Call me all right. And, what's with the helicopter guy? You holding out on me? Zuri smirked despite herself. Malik's voice, all sass and heart, was a lifeline. She'd call him later. First, she had a date at the Rusty Spur. The Rusty Spur was Tumbleweed Springs' beating heart, a saloon-style bar with swinging doors, neon beer signs, and a jukebox pumping Johnny Cash. The air smelled of whiskey, fried onions, and leather, and the crowd was a mix of cowboys in Stetsons, ranchers in flannel, and hipsters chasing the Montana vibe. Zuri pushed through the doors at 8:05, her braids swinging a leather jacket over her flannel. Heads turned, but she ignored them, scanning the room for Jasper. She spotted him at a corner table, and damn, he cleaned up nice. Gone was the bloody drifter from last night. Jasper Navarro, 45, leaned back in a black denim shirt, sleeves rolled up to show muscled forearms, his silver eagle ring glinting under the bar lights. His dark hair was slicked back, his beard trimmed, and those hazel eyes locked on her like she was the only person in the room. He stood as she approached, a slow grin spreading across his face. "Well, hell, Zuri Jackson," he drawled. "You make a leather jacket look like a damn crown." "Save the sweet talk, Hawk," Zuri said, sliding into the booth. "You got some explaining to do? What was that stunt at the hospital? And why the hell am I here?" Her tone was sharp, but her pulse quickened as he leaned closer, his cologne a mix of cedar and spice, hitting her like a shot of bourbon. Before Jasper could answer, a woman joined them, her heels clicking on the wood floor. Amara Cole, Jasper's lawyer, was a black woman in her 40s, all business, in a tailored blazer and gold hoop earrings. She set a tablet on the table and got straight to it. "Zuri, I'm Amara Jasper. Told me what you did saving his life, breaking protocol. That took guts. But what you don't know is why he was at Silver Spur in the first place." Zuri raised an eyebrow, glancing at Jasper. "Yeah, I'm dying to hear this. You don't exactly scream, 'homeless drifter'." "Hawk," Jasper chuckled, sipping a beer. "Fair enough. I'm CEO of Navarro Biotech, a healthcare tech outfit. I was hiking solo in the mountains. No security, no phone to clear my head. Got caught in a rock slide, damn near died. Stumbled into your hospital looking like roadkill. You saved my ass, Zuri, when everyone else was ready to let me bleed out." His eyes softened, and Zuri felt that kiss again, lingering like a spark. Amara cut in her voice, crisp. "Jasper's been eyeing healthcare investments in Montana. He went undercover to see how hospitals like Silver Spur really operate. What he found and what you experienced is a shit show. Caleb Thornton's running a racket turning away Black, Latino, and Native patients without premium insurance. It's not just policy. It's discrimination. And it's illegal." Zuri's jaw tightened. She'd seen it for years. The dirty looks, the denied treatments, the way Caleb's cronies like Lila Hayes enforced his rules with a smile. "Tell me something." "I don't know," she said. "Buck's been king of this town forever. Nobody touches him." "That's where you're wrong," Jasper said, leaning forward, his voice low and intense. "I want to take him down, Zuri, and I need you. You know, silver spur inside out. You've got the fire to make this right. Help me expose Buck and we'll burn his empire to the ground." Zuri stared at him, her mind racing. Team up with a billionaire she barely knew. Risk everything she'd built in secret. But the thought of Caleb's smug face of all the patience turned away, lit a fuse in her. "All right, Hawk," she said finally. "But if we're doing this, we do it my way. No more helicopter stunts. Deal." Jasper grinned, raising his beer. "Deal, cowboy." The moment was interrupted by Tessa. Red Malone, the bar's owner, who sauntered over with a tray of shots. Tessa, 35, was a red-headed firecracker in a denim shirt and boots, her green eyes sparkling with mischief. "Well, damn, look at this power trio," she said, sliding the shots onto the table. "Zuri, you go from saving lives to saving billionaires, and you? Mr. Helicopter, what's your deal? You turning my bar into a soap opera?" The crowd nearby laughed, and Zuri couldn't help but smirk. "Tessa, you're gonna love this," Jasper said, winking. "I went from drifter to tycoon in 12 hours. Call it the Montana Miracle." Tessa hooted, slapping the table. "Hell yeah, that's a story for the jukebox." "Shots on me, y'all. To Zuri, the baddest cowboy in Tumbleweed." Zuri raised her shot, but her smile faded as she glanced at her phone. A notification from Lila's TikTok popped up. A video of Zuri's firing captioned, "Nurse." Zuri thought she was a hero. "Rules are rules, hun. Justice served." The video had 10,000 views already, and the comments were brutal. "Good riddance. She's just a troublemaker." Zuri's stomach churned, but she shoved the phone away. "Lila's gonna regret that," she muttered. Later that night, Jasper walked Zuri to her Jeep, the bar's neon lights casting a glow on the gravel lot. The air was cool, crickets chirping in the distance, and the sky was a blanket of stars that seemed to stretch forever. Zuri leaned against her Jeep, her arms crossed, studying Jasper. "So, Hawk," she said, "why me? You've got lawyers' money, an army of suits. Why drag me into this?" Jasper stepped closer, his boots scuffing the ground. "Because you're real, Zuri. You didn't save me for clout or cash. You did it 'cause it was right. That's the kind of person I need." His voice dropped and he reached out, brushing a braid from her face. "Plus, you kiss like you mean it." Zuri's breath hitched heat, flooding her cheeks. "Your trouble, Navarro," she said, but her lips curved into a smile. The tension between them crackled, and before she could overthink it, Jasper pulled her into him, his hands strong on her waist. Their lips met, not soft like last night, but hungry, desperate, like they were stealing time from the chaos. Zuri's fingers dug into his shirt, the leather of his jacket cool against her skin. They stumbled back against the Jeep, the stars above them spinning, and for a moment, the world was just them, two people caught in a fire neither wanted to put out. The kiss deepened, Jasper's hands sliding under her flannel, his touch igniting her skin. "Zuri," he murmured against her lips, "you're gonna ruin me." She pulled back just enough to meet his eyes, her voice husky. "Good. Maybe you need ruining." They moved to the open field behind the bar, where Jasper spread his jacket on the grass under the Montana sky. They gave in their bodies, entwined in a dance of heat and heart. It wasn't just passion, it was a promise, a vow to fight together. The scene was raw, intense, but never crude, fading out on their silhouettes against the starlit prairie. Tessa's voice broke the spell, shouting from the bar's porch. "Y'all better not set my damn grass on fire. Get a room for Christ's sake." Zuri laughed, breathless, as Jasper helped her up, both of them, grinning like kids caught stealing pie back at Silver Spur. Caleb Thornton sat in his corner office, the hospital dark except for the glow of his desk lamp. His cowboy hat rested on a stack of files, and a half-empty bottle of bourbon sat beside his phone, which was blowing up with notifications. Jasper's stunt had gone viral, and the hospital's board was asking questions. "That son of a bitch!" Caleb growled, slamming his fist on the desk. He'd built Silver Spur into a gold mine, skimming millions, by turning away undesirables, black, Latino, native folks with no premium insurance. And now Zuri, that damn nurse, had lit a match under his empire. He dialed his brother, Mayor Hank Thornton, his voice tight. "Hank, we got a problem. Navarro's not just some rich asshole. He's got lawyers, and Zuri's in on it. We need to shut this down now." Hank's drawl came through calm but cold. "Relax, Buck. We'll dig up dirt on her. Nobody's clean, not even Miss Perfect. And if that don't work, we'll make sure she regrets sticking her nose where it don't belong." Caleb hung up, staring at a photo on his desk, a younger him, arm around a black woman, both smiling. He shoved it into a drawer, his jaw tight. "You should have stayed gone, Zuri," he muttered. "This town's mine." The next morning, Zuri woke to a text from Malik Chek, Lila's TikTok. Shit's hitting the fan. She opened the app, and there it was. Another video from Lila. This one worse, over footage of Zuri's firing. Lila's voice chirped. "Some people think they're above the rules, but not at Silver Spur. Zuri's out, and good riddance. Team Buck." The video had 50,000 views, and the comments were a cesspool. "She's a disgrace. Bet she's just jealous of Buck." Zuri's hands shook, but she didn't cry. She called Malik, her voice steel. "Rusty, you still got access to the hospital cameras?" Malik's grin was audible. "Hell yeah, sis. And guess what? Those cameras record audio. Buck's been running his mouth, and I got it all. You want war? We got ammo." She hung up, staring out her ranch window at the rolling hills. Caleb thought he'd won, but he didn't know who he was messing with. Zuri Jackson wasn't just a nurse. She was a millionaire with a mission, and now she had Jasper Navarro, a billionaire with a grudge. "Buck Thornton," she said to the empty room. "You're about to learn what happens when you fuck with the wrong cowboy." But as she grabbed her keys, another text buzzed through. This one from an unknown number. "Careful, Zuri. Thornton knows more than you think." Her blood ran cold. The game was on, and the stakes just got higher. Zuri Jackson stood on her ranch porch, the Montana dawn painting the hills in shades of amber and rose. Her coffee steamed in a mug stamped with a bucking bronco, the bitter brew grounding her as she stared at the horizon. 3 days had passed since Jasper Navarro's helicopter stunt turned her firing into front-page news, and Tumbleweed Springs was buzzing like a kicked beehive. Lila Hayes' TikTok videos had racked up thousands of views, painting Zuri as a rule-breaking troublemaker, while Caleb Buck Thornton's PR machine worked overtime to spin Silver Spur Medical Center as the victim of a disgruntled employee. But Zuri wasn't just any employee. She was a goddamn millionaire, the secret owner of Meditech, and she was done hiding. Her phone pinged with a text from Malik. "Rusty Brooks. Yo, sis. Got more camera footage. Buck's talking some nasty shit. Meet me at the Spur tonight." Zuri smirked. Malik, her best friend and Silver Spur's security guard, was a one-man rebellion sneaking audio clips that could bury Caleb. But that last text from an unknown number. "Careful, Zuri. Thornton knows more than you think," still gnawed at her. Caleb was a snake, and his brother, Mayor Hank Thornton, was the venom. If they suspected her real identity, things were about to get uglier than a bar fight at closing time. She sipped her coffee, her Navajo-etched boots tapping the porch boards. Jasper Navarro's offer echoed in her mind. Team up to expose Caleb's discriminatory racket. turning away black Latino and native patients without premium insurance and burn his empire to the ground. The memory of their night in the field behind the rusty spur, bodies tangled under the stars, sent a shiver through her. Jasper wasn't just a billionaire with a grudge. He was trouble wrapped in leather, and Zuri was falling hard. "Get it together, girl," she muttered, setting the mug down. "You got a war to win." By noon, Zuri was in town. Her Jeep parked outside the Tumbleweed Springs Community Center, a squat brick building decked out for the monthly town hall banners for the upcoming rodeo festival fluttered in the breeze, and pickup trucks lined the street, their bumpers plastered with stickers, "Montana Proud" and "Keep It Western." Inside the hall smelled of stale coffee and pine cleaner with rows of folding chairs filled by ranchers, shopkeepers, and old-timers in cowboy hats. Zuri, in a fitted flannel and jeans, her braids pulled back, felt every eye on her as she strode to the front. Jasper and Amara Cole, his sharp-as-a-tack lawyer, flanked her while Malik lounged in the back. His carob shirt untucked, a grin on his face like he knew a secret. The town hall was Zuri's chance to strike back. Caleb had spent days smearing her, and Lila's viral videos had turned half the town against her. But Zuri wasn't here to beg for sympathy. She was here to drop a bomb. Mayor Hank Thornton, a leaner, slicker version of his brother Caleb, stood at the podium, his bolo tie gleaming under the fluorescent lights. "Folks," he drawled, "we're here to clear the air about Silver Spur, some ex-employees he shot." Zuri, a pointed look. "Have spread lies about our hospital. Let's set the record straight." Zuri didn't wait for an invitation. She stepped to the podium, her boots echoing, and grabbed the mic. "Y'all want to talk truth? Let's talk." The crowd hushed some, leaning forward, others crossing their arms. Hank's smile faltered. "My name's Zuri Jackson," she said, her voice steady as steel. "For 10 years I was head nurse at Silver Spur, saving lives, while Caleb Thornton turned away anyone who didn't look right or pay right. Black folks, Latinos, natives, you name it. I got fired for saving a man's life, and I'd do it again. But here's the kicker." She paused, letting the tension build. "I'm also the owner of Meditech, a healthcare tech company worth 9 figures. I've been working under your noses trying to fix this broken system, and I'm done hiding." The room exploded. Gasps, murmurs, and a few cheers rippled through the crowd. An old rancher in a Stetson whistled, muttering, "Well, I'll be damned." A woman in a denim skirt shouted, "That's our girl." But others loyal to the Thorntons glared, one guy spitting into a cup and growling, "Outsider bullshit." Hank's face turned the color of sour milk, his hands gripping the podium. "You expect us to believe this?" he snapped. "You're a liar. Zuri stirring up trouble." Jasper stepped forward, his black denim shirt straining over his broad shoulders, his silver eagle ring catching the light. "She's telling the truth, Mayor," he said, his voice calm but cutting. "I'm Jasper Navarro, CEO of Navarro Biotech. Zuri saved my life when your brother's hospital would have let me die. Meditech's real, and so's her fight. You want to call her a liar? Prove it." Amara slid a tablet onto the podium displaying Meditech's public records with Zuri's name as founder. The crowd leaned in some snapping photos. Malik from the back hollered, "Hell yeah, Zuri. Show these fools who's boss." A few folks laughed, but the tension was thick enough to choke on. Zuri seized the moment. Silver Spur's been fleecing this town, turning away people who need care 'cause they don't fit Buck's idea of worthy. "I'm here to change that. Who's with me?" Cheers erupted louder this time, but a group of Thornton loyalists stormed out, one shouting, "You'll pay for this, bitch!" Zuri didn't flinch. She'd just drawn a line in the sand, and Tumbleweed Springs was picking sides. That night, the rusty spur was packed, the jukebox blaring Waylon Jennings, as Zuri, Jasper, Malik, and Amara huddled in a booth, strategizing over beers and a basket of onion rings. Tessa. Red Malone, the bar's firecracker owner, slid into the booth with a grin, her red hair glowing under the neon lights. "Zuri, you dropped a damn nuke at that town hall," she said, stealing an onion ring. "Half the town's calling you a hero. The other half's ready to tar and feather you." "What's next?" Queen Zuri leaned back, her leather jacket creaking. "Next we dig. Malik's got camera, footage from Silver Spur, Buck talking shit about patients. We need more emails, records, anything to prove he's breaking the law." Malik grinned, his belt buckle glinting. "Already on it, sis. Buck's dumb enough to say it all on tape. I got him calling patients trash and worse. Man's a walking lawsuit." Amara nodded, tapping her tablet. "Navarro Biotech's got forensic accountants ready to trace Buck's finances. If he's skimming money, we'll find it. But Zuri, you're a target now. The Thorntons play dirty. Watch your back." Jasper's hand brushed Zuri's under the table, his touch steadying her. "She's not alone," he said, his voice low. "Anyone comes for Zuri, they deal with me." His hazel eyes locked on hers, and for a moment, the bar faded, the noise, the smoke, all of it. Zuri's heart kicked, remembering their night in the field. "Careful, Hawk," she said, half smiling. "You keep playing hero. I might start liking you." Tessa hooted, slapping the table. "Y'all are gonna set this bar on fire. Get a room before I hose you down." The group laughed, but Zuri's phone buzzed, killing the mood. Another TikTok from Lila Hayes, this one. A montage of Zuri's town hall speech captioned, "Zuri's lying about being a millionaire. She's just a wannabe causing drama." Team Buck. The video had 20,000 likes and the comments were vicious. "Fake as hell. Go back where you came from. Little bitch," Zuri muttered, shoving her phone away. Malik leaned over, his grin wicked. "Don't sweat it, Zuri. Lila's digging her own grave. I saw her sneaking around with Kai Running Wolf, that native mechanic. Bet he's got dirt on her." Zuri raised an eyebrow. "Kai, the guy who fixes my Jeep. He's good people. Maybe he can talk some sense into her." After the bar, Jasper drove Zuri to a quiet overlook outside town, the Jeep's headlights cutting through the dark. They parked on a bluff, the valley below twinkling with ranch lights, the Milky Way sprawling above like a diamond quilt. Jasper spread a blanket in the grass, and they sat, shoulders brushing the air, cool and sweet with sagebrush. "You were a badass today," he said, his voice soft. "Taking on the whole damn town. That's my kind of cowboy." Zuri laughed, but her eyes were distant. "I'm scared, Hawk. Not of Buck, but of losing what I came here to do. My parents died because of hospitals like Silver Spur. I built Meditech to stop that. But what if I'm not enough?" Her voice cracked and Jasper pulled her close, his arms strong around her. "You're more than enough," he said, his lips brushing her forehead. "And you ain't doing this alone." He tilted her chin up, and their eyes met, the heat between them flaring. They kissed slow at first, then deeper, a fire that burned away the fear. Jasper's hands slid under her flannel, his touch igniting her skin, and they sank onto the blanket, the stars their only witness. It was tender, fierce, a moment of solace in the storm fading out on their shared breath and the rustle of grass. They lay there after Zuri's head on his chest, his heartbeat steady under her ear. "You're gonna ruin me, Navarro?" she whispered, half laughing. He chuckled, his fingers tracing her braids. "Good, 'cause you're already ruining me." Meanwhile, Caleb Thornton was unraveling. In his office, the bourbon bottle was nearly empty, his phone lighting up with angry texts from the hospital board. Jasper's stunt and Zuri's town hall bombshell had investors spooked, and whispers of an audit were circling. Hank stormed in his bolo tie askew, his face grim. "Buck, you idiot. You let Zuri play you like a fiddle. She's a goddamn millionaire, and now she's got Navarro's money behind her. We need to hit back hard. Caleb's eyes narrowed, a plan forming. She's got a past. Hank, I know things. Lawsuits, old grudges. We dig up her dirt, leak it to the press, and if that don't work... He trailed off, his voice cold. Accidents happen. Hank nodded, but his eyes flickered with unease. Just don't screw this up, Buck. This town's ours. The next day, Zuri was at her ranch, sorting through Meditech files, when Malik called, his voice urgent. Zuri, I got something big. Camera footage from Buck's office. Him and Hank talking about bribing insurance companies to deny claims. It's gold. But I heard Buck's got a PI sniffing around you. They're digging into your Meditech days. Zuri's blood ran cold. Her past, a lawsuit against a hospital for discrimination, was buried, but not deep enough. If Caleb found it, he'd twist it to paint her as a serial troublemaker. Send me the footage, she said, and Rusty, watch your back. She hung up, staring at the photo of her parents. The fight was bigger now, and the Thorntons were closing in. But Zuri wasn't running. She grabbed her jacket, her boots clicking as she headed for the door. The rodeo festival was a week away, and if Malik's footage was as damning as he said, it was the perfect stage to bury Buck for good. Game on, asshole, she muttered, the fire in her gut burning brighter than ever. The air in Tumbleweed Springs crackled with tension like the calm before a thunderstorm that'd tear the damn sky apart. Zuri. Jackson sat at her ranch kitchen table, the morning light filtering through the windows, glinting off the rodeo trophies on her shelf. Her laptop was open, displaying a grainy still from Malik's hospital camera footage. Caleb Buck Thornton in his corner office smirking as he told his brother Hank, "We keep the trash out. Black, Latino, native. Whatever. More money for us, less hassle." The audio was gold, pure dynamite, but Zuri's gut churned. Using it at the rodeo festival, now just 5 days away, would be like tossing a match into a barn full of hay. And Caleb wasn't the type to go down without a fight. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jasper Hawk Navarro. "Meet me at the Spur noon. Got something you need to see." Zuri's lips twitched despite the storm brewing. Jasper, billionaire troublemaker, and the man who'd set her heart racing under the Montana stars, was all in on this fight. Their night on the bluff. His hands warm under her flannel. His voice promising they'd win together felt like a lifeline. But that cryptic text from an unknown number. "Careful, Zuri. Thornton knows more than you think," hung over her like a vulture. If Caleb had dug up her past, the lawsuit she'd filed against a hospital for discrimination years ago, he'd twist it to bury her. She grabbed her leather jacket, her Navajo-etched boots clicking as she headed for her Jeep. "Buck Thornton," she muttered, "you're about to learn I don't break easy." The engine roared and she tore down the dirt road, dust trailing like a war banner. The rusty Spur was quieter at noon, the jukebox silent, the smell of last night's whiskey lingering in the air. Sunlight streamed through the windows, catching the scuffs on the wood floor and the dartboard riddled with holes. Tessa Red Malone was behind the bar, polishing glasses, her red hair tied up in a messy bun. "Well, if it ain't the Queen of Tumbleweed," she called as Zuri walked in, Jasper trailing behind. "Heard you set the town hall on fire. Zuri, half the town's ready to crown you, the other half's sharpening pitchforks." Zuri smirked, sliding onto a bar stool. "Let 'em try. I've faced worse than a few pissed-off ranchers." Jasper settled beside her, his black denim shirt hugging his broad frame, his silver eagle ring glinting as he ordered a coffee. "Tessa, you got any of that sludge you call brew?" he teased, dodging a rag. She tossed at him. "Keep talking, helicopter boy, and you'll be drinking dishwater." Tessa shot back, but her grin was wide. She leaned on the bar, her green eyes flicking between Zuri and Jasper. "Y'all are trouble together, you know that? Like Barney and Clyde, but with better boots." Zuri laughed, but it faded when Jasper slid a manila folder across the bar. "Take a look," he said, his voice low. She opened it, her breath catching. It was a dossier from Amara Cole's team pages of leaked emails from Silver Spur's servers showing Caleb and Hank bribing insurance companies to deny claims for high-risk patients, meaning anyone who wasn't white or wealthy. One email from Caleb read, "Keep the riffraff out. Every rejection's a bonus for us." Zuri's hands shook, rage boiling in her chest. "This is worse than I thought," she said. "Buck's not just discriminatory. He's a fucking thief." Jasper nodded, his jaw tight. "Amara's got accountants tracing the money, millions. Zuri funneled to offshore accounts. But there's more." He hesitated, then slid a news article from the folder. The headline hit like a gut punch. "Local hero or serial litigant Zuri Jackson's troubled past." The story, published by a Thornton-friendly local paper, dug up her old lawsuit against a Denver hospital for refusing to treat her parents. It painted her as a chronic troublemaker who fabricated discrimination claims for clout. The comments online were brutal. "She's a liar, just another angry black woman." "Those sons of bitches," Zuri hissed, slamming the folder shut. Tessa whistled, leaning over to read. "Damn, Zuri, the Thorntons are playing dirty. This is some next-level bullshit." Jasper's hand found Zuri's, his touch grounding her. "They're scared," he said. "This is them lashing out. We're close, Zuri. They know it." She pulled her hand away, standing to pace. "Close ain't enough. Hawk. This town's turning on me. Lila's TikToks. This article. Half the folks out there think I'm the villain, and if Buck's got a PI digging into my past, he might find Meditech's full records. If that goes public before we're ready, we're screwed." Tessa poured a shot of whiskey and slid it to Zuri. "Drink, girl. You're fighting a war, not a bar brawl. You need to stay sharp." Zuri downed the shot, the burn steadying her. "Thanks, Red, but sharp ain't gonna cut it if Buck's playing this dirty." The Thorntons' retaliation hit like a freight train. By evening, Zuri's phone was blowing up with alerts. A new TikTok from Lila Hayes went viral, splicing clips of Zuri's town hall speech with the article's claims. Zuri says she's a millionaire, but is she? Or is she just a fraud stirring up trouble? Team Buck. The video had 100,000 views, and the comments were a cesspool. "She's faking it. Send her ass back to Denver." Zuri's ranch became a target too. Someone spray-painted liar on her barn overnight, the red paint dripping like blood. She stared at it, fists clenched, as Malik arrived, his pickup screeching to a halt. "Zuri, you okay?" he asked, jumping out his carob shirt, untucked. "I heard about the barn. This is Buck's doing, I know it." He hugged her, his warmth a reminder she wasn't alone. "I got more footage," he said, lowering his voice. "Buck and Hank talking about handling you. Sounds like they're planning something bad, sis." Zuri's blood ran cold. "Bad how?" Malik hesitated, then played a clip on his phone. Caleb's voice grainy but clear. "Zuri's getting too loud. We need her gone quietly. Accidents happen." Hank, Zuri's knees buckled, but she caught herself. "That motherfucker," she whispered. "He's not just smearing me. He's planning to hurt me." Malik's eyes blazed. "We take this to the cops. Zuri, or Amara. This is evidence." She shook her head, her voice hard. "Not yet. Cops in this town. Answer to Hank. We use this at the rodeo. Make it public. Buck won't know what hit him." But the danger wasn't just talk. That night, Zuri was driving home from town when a black SUV roared up behind her, its headlights blinding in her rear view. It swerved close, nearly clipping her Jeep, then sped past a shadowy figure in the driver's seat, flipping her off. Her heart pounded as she pulled over, gripping the wheel. "Fuck you, Buck," she muttered, but fear clawed at her. This wasn't just a game anymore. Jasper was at the ranch within an hour, his face stormy as Zuri told him about the SUV. They sat in her living room, the fireplace crackling the photo of her parents watching from the counter. "You're not staying here alone," Jasper said, his voice rough. "Not after this." Zuri bristled, standing to face him. "I'm not some damsel hawk. I can handle myself." "I know you can," he said, stepping closer, his hands cupping her face. "But you don't have to. Not with me here." His eyes searched hers, and the room seemed to shrink, the air thick with their shared heat. Zuri's walls crumbled, and she leaned into him, their lips meeting in a kiss that was both fierce and tender. They sank onto the couch, his hands sliding under her flannel, her fingers tracing the lines of his chest. It was a moment of refuge, their bodies speaking what words couldn't have promised, to face the fire together. The scene faded on their closeness, the firelight dancing across their skin. Malik's voice broke the spell, calling from the porch. "Yo, Zuri, you in there? I ain't trying to walk in on no cowboy romance." Zuri laughed, pulling away, her cheeks warm. "Get your ass in here, Rusty!" she shouted, and Jasper chuckled, smoothing his shirt. Malik burst in, holding a USB drive. "More footage, sis. Buck's meeting with some shady insurance guy tomorrow. We can catch him in the act." But his grin faded as he saw Zuri's face. "What happened?" She told him about the SUV, and his jaw tightened. "That's it. I'm crashing here tonight. Ain't no Thornton goon getting to you." Zuri smiled, grateful. "Thanks, Rusty. But we're not just playing defense. We hit Buck where it hurts at the rodeo. Across town, Caleb Thornton was a man on the edge. His office was a mess, papers strewn across the desk, the bourbon bottle empty. The hospital board was breathing down his neck. Investors were pulling out, and Zuri's town hall stunt had split the town in two. Hank sat across from him, his bolo tie glinting in the dim light. "Buck, you're losing it," Hank said, his voice cold. "Zuri's got Navarro's money and half the town's support. We need to end this." Caleb's eyes gleamed with desperation. "I got a guy tailing her," he said, "and that PI's digging deeper. She sued a hospital in Denver. Hank, we leak that twist it she's done, and if she keeps pushing—" He trailed off, his meaning clear. Hank's face tightened, but he nodded. "Do what you gotta do. Just don't fuck it up." As Hank left, Caleb pulled the photo from his drawer, him and a black woman smiling years ago. His hand shook as he shoved it back, his voice a growl. "You should have stayed quiet, Zuri. Now you're gonna burn." The next morning, Zuri woke to chaos. Her phone was flooded with alerts. A new article, this one, National Republishing the Thornton smear with a vicious spin. Zuri Jackson fraud or fanatic social media, was worse, with Lila's latest TikTok racking up 200,000 views. Zuri's lies are tearing Tumbleweed apart. Stand with Silver Spur, nagged team. Buck. Worse, a pipe burst at her ranch, flooding the barn, and the repair guy swore it looked like sabotage. Zuri stood in the mud, staring at the damage, her fists clenched. The Thorntons were closing in, and the town was slipping away. She called Malik, her voice shaking. "Rusty, we need that insurance meeting footage. It's our last shot before the rodeo." Malik's voice was grim. "I'm on it, sis. But Buck's got eyes everywhere. Stay safe, all right." As she hung up, a shadow moved in the trees beyond the barn. Zuri's heart stopped, her hand reaching for the knife in her boot. The rodeo was coming, and with it, the fight of her life. "Bring it on, Buck," she whispered, her eyes blazing. "I'm ready." Zuri Jackson stood in the muddy wreckage of her ranch's barn, the stench of wet hay and sabotage thick in the Montana air. The word liar still dripped in red paint across the barn door, a parting gift from Caleb Thornton's goons. Her Navajo-etched boots sank into the sludge, but her eyes burned with a fire that could have scorched the whole damn valley. The rodeo festival was 3 days away, and Tumbleweed Springs was a powder keg, half the town rallying behind her after her town hall bombshell. the other half swallowing Caleb's lies like cheap whiskey. The article smearing her as a serial litigant, Lila Hayes' viral TikToks, and that black SUV trying to run her off the road had pushed Zuri to the edge. But she wasn't breaking. Not now. Not ever. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from Malik. Rusty Brooks got eyes on Buck's insurance meeting today. Meet me at the Spur ASAP. This shit's big. Zuri's pulse kicked up. Malik, her best friend, and Silver Spur's security guard had been risking his neck to gather dirt on Caleb camera footage. Audio clips, anything to prove the hospital director was rigging the system to screw over Black Latino and Native patients. If this new lead was as hot as Malik claimed it could be, the key to blowing Caleb's empire sky high at the rodeo. But that cryptic warning, Thornton knows more than you think, still haunted her. If Caleb's private investigator had dug up her Meditech secrets or her old lawsuit, the game could turn deadly. She grabbed her leather jacket, the weight of her boot knife reassuring against her ankle, and headed for her Jeep. "You want a war, Buck?" she muttered, firing up the engine. "I'll give you a goddamn inferno." The rusty Spur was a hive of midday chatter, the jukebox cranking Merle Haggard's "Mama Tried" as sunlight streamed through dusty windows. The bar smelled of coffee and bacon grease, a far cry from its nighttime whiskey haze. Tessa. Red Malone was wiping down the counter, her red hair glowing like a beacon, while a handful of regulars ranchers in faded flannel, a biker with a gray braid, nursed beers and swapped rodeo bets. Zuri pushed through the swinging doors, her braids swinging, and spotted Malik in a corner booth, his carob shirt untucked, a laptop open in front of him. Jasper Navarro sat beside him, his black denim shirt rolled up to show that damn eagle ring glinting like a challenge. Amara Cole Jasper's lawyer was there too, her gold hoops catching the light as she typed furiously on a tablet. "Well, hell, it's the Justice League of Tumbleweed," Tessa called, tossing a rag over her shoulder. "Y'all planning to take down Buck or just here for my world-famous burgers?" She winked, but her eyes flicked to Zuri's tense expression. "Rough day, Queen," you could say that Zuri said, sliding into the booth. "Barnes flooded paints defaced, and some asshole tried to run me off the road. Buck's playing dirty." Jasper's jaw tightened, his hand brushing hers under the table, a silent promise of backup. "He's desperate," Jasper said, his voice low. "We're close, Zuri, too close for him to stay cool." Malik leaned forward, his grin wicked. "And we're about to get closer. Check this." He spun the laptop, showing a grainy video from a hospital camera. Buck's office late at night. Caleb sat across from a slick-looking man in a suit, papers spread between them. The audio was faint but damning. "Deny the claims for these patients," Caleb said, sliding a list across the desk. "Black Native, mostly Medicaid. We save millions. You get your cut." The suit nodded, pocketing the list. "Done, but keep it quiet." Thornton feds are sniffing around Zuri's, blood boiled. "That's not just discrimination," she said, her voice shaking. "It's murder. People died 'cause of this shit." She thought of her parents turned away from a hospital, their faces fading in her memory. Amara's eyes narrowed, her fingers pausing on the tablet. "This is enough for a federal case," she said, "but we need more bank records, proof of the kickbacks. My team's working on it, but Buck's covered his tracks well. Malik wasn't done." "Wait for it," he said, clicking to another clip. This one was from a hallway camera time-stamped 2 nights ago. Caleb and Hank Thornton, the mayor, stood in a corner, their voices low but clear. "Zuri's gotta go," Caleb said. His face twisted. "She's riling up the town and Navarro's bankrolling her. We need an accident. Hank, something clean." Hank's voice was colder. "Handle it. But don't fuck it up, Buck." Zuri's breath caught her hands clenching. "Those bastards," she whispered. Jasper's grip on her hand tightened, his eyes blazing. "They're not touching you," he said, his voice a growl. "I swear it." Zuri Tessa, who'd been eavesdropping, slammed a glass on the counter. Accidents, my ass. Y'all need to take this to the cops or the damn FBI. Buck's gone full villain. Not yet, Zuri said, her voice steel. Cops here are in Hank's pocket. We use this at the rodeo, put it on the big screen for the whole damn town to see. Buck won't have anywhere to hide. Malik nodded, but his grin faded. Risky, sis. Buck's got a PI tailing you. And after that SUV stunt, I'm betting he's got more planned. You need to lay low. Zuri's eyes flashed. Lay low. Fuck that, I'm not running from a coward like Buck Thornton. The fight got personal that afternoon. Zuri was at the community center meeting with a group of supporters, ranchers, native elders, and black and Latino families who'd been turned away by Silver Spur, Granny Rosa, a sharp-tongued black elder who'd mentored Zuri as a kid, held court in a floral dress, her voice cutting through the chatter. Zuri's our fire, she said, her eyes fierce. She's fighting for us, for every soul Buck left to die. Y'all stand with her, or you're standing with the devil. The crowd cheered, but Zuri's heart sank when she saw the news alert on her phone. Zuri Jackson's Meditech under scrutiny, fraud allegations surface. The article pushed by a Thornton-friendly outlet claimed Meditech's funding was suspicious, hinting at money laundering and tying it to Zuri's discredited lawsuit from Denver. Social media exploded with Lila's latest TikTok pouring gas on the fire. Zuri's millionaire story is falling apart. Fraud alert Nankad Team Buck. The video had 300,000 views and the comments were a knife to Zuri's gut. She's a scam artist. Lock her up. Zuri's hand shook as she showed the article to Jasper, who joined her at the meeting. They're hitting me where it hurts, she said, her voice low. Meditech's my life's work. If they destroy it. Jasper pulled her into a side room away from the crowd, his hands framing her face. They won't, he said, his voice fierce. You're stronger than their lies. Zuri, we've got the truth. Malik's footage, Amara's records. We'll bury them. She leaned into him, her forehead against his chest, his heartbeat steadying her. I'm tired, Hawk, she whispered. Tired of fighting alone? He tilted her chin up, his hazel eyes locking on hers. You ain't alone. Not now. Not ever. Their lips met a slow, deep kiss that burned away the doubt. His hands sliding to her waist, her fingers gripping his shirt. They pulled back, breathless, and Zuri managed to smile. You keep kissing me like that, Navarro, I might forget we're at war. He grinned, brushing a braid from her face. Good, 'cause I'm planning to kiss you through the whole damn thing. Granny Rosa's voice interrupted, calling from the hall. Zuri, you done making eyes at that cowboy? We got work to do. Zuri laughed, the sound easing the weight on her chest. Coming, Granny, she shouted, but Jasper's hand lingered on hers, a silent vow. The turning point came that night thanks to an unexpected ally. Zuri was at the Rusty Spur reviewing Malik's footage with Jasper and Tessa when Kai Running Wolf, the native mechanic who fixed Zuri's Jeep, walked in. Kai, 30, was lean and quiet, his long black hair tied back, a silver pendant glinting at his throat. He hesitated, then approached their booth, his voice low. Zuri, I need to talk. It's about Lila. Zuri raised an eyebrow. Lila. Your girlfriend has been tearing me apart online. Kai. What's this about? Kai's eyes flicked to the floor, then back up. She's messed up. Zuri. Buck's been feeding her lies, promising her a big job if she keeps pushing his narrative. But she's got something you need an email from. Buck to an insurance exec, admitting he fudged patient records to deny care. It's on her laptop. I convinced her to give it up. Zuri's heart raced. You're serious? Kai nodded, pulling a USB drive from his pocket. Copied it myself. Lila's sorry. Zuri, she's just scared. Buck's got her twisted up. Tessa whistled, leaning over. Well, damn, Kai. You're the dark horse of this rodeo. Lila turning on Buck. That's some soap opera shit. Jasper took the USB, his eyes narrowing. This could be it? The smoking gun. If it's legit, we've got Buck dead to rights. Zuri looked at Kai, her voice soft. Thank you, Kai. Tell Lila. Tell her I get it, but she's got to pick a side. Kai nodded, his face tight, and left. Malik, who'd been quiet, spoke up. That's not all. I hacked into Buck's personal email. Don't ask how I'm a genius. Found a thread with a guy named Vince, some shady fixer. Buck's paying him to deal with Zuri. Mentions a fire maybe at the ranch. Zuri's blood ran cold, the memory of the flooded barn flashing in her mind. A fire, she said. Those bastards. Jasper stood, his voice a growl. We're ending this at the rodeo, Malik. Get that email to Amara Zuri. We're crashing at my place tonight. No arguments. I'm not letting you out of my sight. Zuri opened her mouth to protest, but the look in his eyes, fierce, protective, stopped her. Fine, she said, her lips twitching, but don't get used to bossing me around. Navarro, Tessa hooted, tossing a peanut at them. Y'all are gonna burn this town down, not just Buck. Get out of my bar before you start making out again. The group laughed, but the weight of Kai's USB and Malik's discovery hung heavy. They had the ammo to destroy Caleb, but the clock was ticking. At Silver Spur, Caleb Thornton was a caged animal. His office was a war zone, papers, shredded bourbon bottles littering the desk. The hospital board was threatening to fire him. Investors were bailing, and Zuri's campaign was gaining steam. Hank stormed in his face, a mask of fury. Buck, you're fucking this up. Zuri's got the town riled, and Navarro's got feds sniffing around. That PI found nothing but her old lawsuit. And now you're talking fires. You're gonna get us both locked up. Caleb's eyes were wild, his voice a snarl. She's ruined everything, Hank. I built this hospital, this town. I'm not letting some nurse and her billionaire boyfriend take it. He pulled the photo from his drawer, him and that black woman smiling, and crushed it in his fist. Zuri's done, he said. Vince'll make sure of it. Hank's voice dropped cold as ice. You better pray he does, 'cause if this goes south, I'm not going down with you. The next morning, Zuri woke in Jasper's guest room, the smell of coffee pulling her from sleep. His ranch, a sleek mix of glass and timber, overlooked the valley, and the view calmed her racing mind. She found him in the kitchen flipping pancakes, his hair mussed a dish towel over his shoulder. Morning, cowboy, he said, sliding a plate toward her. Fuel up. We've got a rodeo to crash. She smiled, but it faded as her phone buzzed. A news alert. Zuri, Jackson's ranch, vandalized. Again. Arson suspected. Her heart stopped. The barn hadn't just flooded. Someone had tried to torch it, and the fire marshal found traces of accelerant. Zuri's hands shook, but she met Jasper's eyes, her voice steady. Buck's out of moves. We end this at the rodeo. Malik's call came an hour later, his voice electric. Zuri Amara's got the email from Lila's USB. It's legit, and I got Vince's address. We can trace him to Buck. Rodeo's our shot, sis. Let's light it up. Zuri hung up, staring at the valley below. The truth was in her hands. Malik's footage, Kai's email, Amara's records. But Buck was a cornered animal, and cornered animals bite. Ready or not? Thornton, she said, her voice a blade. Your time's up. The Tumbleweed Springs Rodeo Festival was a riot of color and chaos, the kind of event that made Montana feel like the heart of the goddamn universe. Dust swirled under a blazing sun as cowboys roped calves in the arena, their Stetsons bobbing, while vendors hawked BBQ ribs and cold beers from tents strung with fairy lights. The air smelled of grilled meat leather and anticipation, and the crowd, thousands strong in flannel denim and boots, roared with every buck of a bronco. A massive screen loomed over the grandstand, flashing ads for local ranches and the Silver Spur Medical Center, Caleb Buck Thornton's pride and joy. But Zuri Jackson, standing backstage in a fitted flannel and her Navajo-etched boots, knew that screen was about to become Buck's worst nightmare. Her heart pounded like a war drum. Today was the day, 3 days after Kai Running Wolf's USB drive and Malik Rusty Brooks's email hack gave her the ammo to bury Buck for good. The evidence was loaded footage of Buck bribing insurance execs' emails admitting he fudged patient records and audio of him plotting accidents to silence Zuri Amara Cole. Jasper Navarro's lawyer had the FBI on speed dial, ready to swoop in once the truth hit the airwaves. But the rodeo was Zuri's stage, and she was done playing nice. Buck had smeared her as a fraud, vandalized her ranch, and damn near run her off the road. Now he'd face the reckoning. He'd earned. Jasper stood beside her, his black denim shirt rolled up his silver eagle ring glinting as he adjusted a hidden earpiece. "You ready, cowboy?" he asked. His hazel eyes locked on hers, a mix of fire and faith. Zuri managed a half-smile, her braids swinging as she nodded. "Ready as I'll ever be, Hawk. Let's burn this bastard down." His hand brushed hers, a spark in the chaos, and she felt the weight of their nights together. The field, the bluff, the ranch anchoring her. Jasper wasn't just a billionaire ally, he was her partner, her heart, and she'd fight for him as hard as she fought for justice. Malik jogged up his carob shirt soaked with sweat, a laptop under his arm. "Screens rigged, Zuri," he said, grinning like a kid who'd just pulled off a heist. One click and Buck's dirty laundry goes live to every soul in Tumbleweed. Kai's got the USB hooked up and Amara's ready with the feds. "We're golden." Zuri clapped his shoulder. "You're a damn genius, Rusty. Don't let it go to your head, Tessa." Red Malone, the Rusty Spurs owner, pushed through the crowd, her red hair blazing under a cowboy hat. "Y'all better not fuck this up," she said, tossing Zuri a bottle of water. "Whole town's out there, and half of 'em are still drinking Buck's Kool-Aid. Hit 'em hard." Queen Zuri nodded, her jaw tight. The rodeo was her last shot to turn the tide, and she wasn't backing down. The grandstand was packed when Caleb Thornton took the stage, his tailored vest gleaming, his black cowboy hat tilted just so. He gripped the mic, his voice booming over the crowd. "Folks, Silver Spur's the backbone of Tumbleweed Springs," he drawled, flashing a politician's smile. "We've faced lies and slander, but we're stronger than ever. Let's celebrate this hospital, this town, and the Montana way." The crowd cheered, though those who'd heard Zuri's town hall speech stayed silent, their eyes skeptical. Zuri watched from backstage, her stomach twisting. Buck's lies had held this town hostage for years, turning away patients like her parents, profiting off pain. She glanced at Jasper, who nodded, his earpiece buzzing with Amara's voice. "FBI's in position. Go when ready." Malik raised a hand, his finger hovering over the laptop's enter key. "Say the word. Sis." "Now," Zuri whispered. The screen flickered, cutting off a Silver Spur ad. The crowd hushed as Malik's footage filled the display, Buck in his office, smirking as he told the insurance exec deny the claims. Black native Medicaid trash. We save millions. Gasps rippled through the stands. The video shifted to the hallway clip, Buck's voice chilling Zuri's. "Gotta go. An accident. Hank, something clean." The crowd erupted, some shouting, others booing. A rancher in a Stetson yelled, "What the hell, Buck?" A woman in a denim skirt stood screaming, "You killed my brother." Caleb's face drained of color, his mic slipping as he stammered, This is fake lies." But the screen kept rolling, showing Kai's email, Buck admitting he fudged records to deny care costing lives. The crowd's roar turned feral beer cans flying, chants of "liar" echoing. Zuri stepped onto the stage, mic in hand, her voice cutting through the chaos. "This is your hero, Tumbleweed," she said, her eyes locked on Buck. "Caleb Thornton's been stealing your money, killing your neighbors, and laughing all the way to the bank. I'm Zuri Jackson, and I'm here to end it." The crowd surged, some cheering, others shoving toward the stage. Jasper joined her, his presence a shield, as Malik and Tessa pushed through to keep order. But the real blow came from an unexpected voice, Granny Rosa, the Black Elder, who'd mentored Zuri, hobbling onto the stage with a cane and a fire in her eyes. She grabbed the mic, her voice trembling but fierce. "Zuri, it's time you knew the truth. Buck Thornton was your daddy's best friend, Samuel Jackson. When Samuel got hurt in that wreck, Buck refused to treat him. No insurance, no care. Your daddy died because of this man." The arena fell silent, the weight of Rosa's words crushing. Zuri's knees buckled, her vision blurring. Her father dead because of Buck. The man she'd fought all this time had blood on his hands, her family's blood. She turned to Caleb, tears streaming, but her voice was steel. "You killed my daddy," she said, each word a blade, "and you thought you could kill me too, but I'm still standing, you son of a bitch." Caleb's eyes darted wild with panic. I didn't mean it," he shouted, but the crowd drowned him out, their fury. A tidal wave. He bolted for the exits, shoving through the chaos. But FBI agents, tipped off by Amara, blocked his path. Caleb Thornton, an agent, barked, cuffs glinting. "You're under arrest for fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy." Hank, caught in the stands, was cuffed too, his bolo tie dangling as he cursed Zuri. Faced the crowd, her voice raw but strong. "This ain't about revenge, it's about justice. About making sure no one, Black, Native, Latino, poor, gets turned away again. I forgive Buck not 'cause he deserves it, but 'cause I'm building something better." The crowd roared, some crying, others chanting her name. The arena cleared, but the night wasn't over. Under the rodeo's twinkling lights, Jasper pulled Zuri into the empty bullpen, the dust settling around them. The crowd's cheers still echoed, but here it was just them, the air thick with faux smoke and promise. He dropped to one knee, pulling out a silver ring carved with an eagle matching his own. "Zuri Jackson," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "You're my home, my fight, my everything. Marry me, cowboy." Zuri's heart swelled, but she laughed, shaking her head. "Hawk, I don't need a ring to ride with you. How about a deal instead? We build a healthcare empire, save lives together. That's my kind of vow." Jasper's grin was pure Montana sunshine. "Fuck, you're perfect," he said, standing to pull her into a kiss, deep and fierce, the faux bursting above like their own damn galaxy. The crowd, catching the moment, erupted in cheers, Tessa's voice rising above. "Get a room, y'all, or I'm charging for the show." Malik jogged up, grinning. "Y'all are worse than a Hallmark movie. But Zuri, you did it. Buck's done." He tossed her a beer but fumbled at the can, rolling in the dust. "Shit. I'm still cooler than Buck," he said, and the group laughed. The tension melting. 6 months later, Silver Spur was gone, replaced by the Zuri Jackson Health Hub, a gleaming hospital open to all. No questions asked. Zuri, in a custom blouse with native beadwork, walked the halls, chatting with patients. Ranchers, native elders, kids with no insurance, all treated like family. Dr. Elena, Doc Vargas, ran the ER, her turquoise scarf a constant, while Malik split time between security and singing country tunes at the Rusty Spur. Lila, humbled, worked community outreach, her TikToks now praising Zuri's mission. Kai stood by her, his quiet strength, a reminder of second chances. Zuri and Jasper ran a national foundation, their rodeo fundraisers drawing thousands. They lived between her ranch and his, cussing and laughing, as they built a future. One evening under a Montana sunset, they rode horses across her fields, Jasper still wobbly in the saddle. "You're hopeless, Navarro." Zuri teased her braids catching the breeze. He grinned, pulling her close. "Long as I've got you. Cowboy, I'm golden. Caleb in a federal prison, 300 miles away, scrubbed floors, his empire dust." He saw Zuri on TV, her face radiant. Zuri, Jackson's health hub sets, national standard. He dropped his mop, muttering, "Fuck. I was wrong." His world was gone and hers was just beginning. Zuri stood on her ranch porch, coffee in hand, the Bronco mug warm against her palms. The lesson was clear. Justice wasn't about tearing down the wicked. It was about building something so bright their darkness couldn't touch it. She'd lost her job, her privacy, her past. But she'd gained a family. Jasper, Malik, Tessa Rosa, and a mission that would save millions. "Here's to you, Mama, Daddy," she whispered, raising her mug to the sky. "We did it." Holy shit, y'all. Zuri just turned a rodeo into a revolution, took down a villain and stole our hearts with that cowboy love. If her fight for justice lit a fire in you, smash that subscribe button and drop Zuri's My Hero in the comments. Let's keep riding for what's right together.